Waco from Revolution here at Dubai Watch Week. And actually one of the guys I admire most and like the most in the watch industry, his name is Justin Reis, and he's the CEO of 1916. How are you, sir?
It's good to see you, buddy.
Where'd you fly in from, brother?
I just arrived from New York.
Okay.
Yeah, literally just got off the plane. Had to come and see you today, so thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Okay, so I want to talk about what has transformed into 1916.
Okay.
But let's talk about what you guys did, kind of like phase by phase, right?
Okay,
so
sure.
To me, what I really admire about the first thing that you guys did was you transformed the whole concept of secondary from a transactional business into a curation service, right?
Mm-hmm.
To identify the very best in watchmaking, especially in independent watchmaking,
Yes.
and helping people to understand the value of that and uplifting that. Tell me about that, man.
So we've always believed that this business that we wanted to create, it wasn't to be around transactions. We knew luxury had to be about experiences, education, and really understanding what the customer really wanted to be around. And so our business was, let's open up a location or destinations where collectors could come together, hang out, meet great people in media, see great product, and really just have fun. This industry had to change, and over the years we've realized that if you could build a platform where all of us watch collectors and the watch collecting community is truly global, then we had a successful story to put together.
That's awesome, man. You know, I love also the physical locations that you're discussing. You have kind of like almost out of the goodwill to collectors just created these sort of palaces of like watch dopeness, where like you go there, it's like exactly like the kind of vibe that you would like. It's incredibly luxurious, but it's not at all a selling platform. It's a hangout. It's an educational platform. I love the party that you did in LA where like incredibly Alicia Keys showed up, Swiss Beats showed up, LL Cool J showed up.
Yeah.
It's like, every one of like the rap or R&B icons of my like youth was there, which I thought was incredible. But tell me a little bit about why it was important to do this, because I'm sure it's incredibly expensive to do this.
Yeah.
Why was that important to give something to the collector?
I think the collector was looking for something different. I mean, over the years when we started the company, we realized that we needed to build what I would describe homes, where collectors could come together, congregate, see product, but traditionally the watch industry has been very transactional, and you go to a retailer store, you walk in, you buy the watch and you leave. But the after service or the after experience was definitely missing. So we built these locations and we wanted to put them in places where people weren't really expecting them. Obviously, we first built our first home in Hong Kong, then in Singapore, then in Dubai, and then we're also in Switzerland. But then we went into the US and we went into places where we traditionally weren't very present. So places like LA, Miami, and also in New York. So as we built these homes, we gave everyone in our community effectively a passport to go and travel to every location, meet other collectors. And nothing gives me more pleasure today when I meet a collector who comes to us and says, "You've made my experience fun, you've made it enjoyable, and I get to go now and meet other collectors around the world." And so that's kind of what we've done. We've built homes for our collectors.
I love that. It's like the ultimate community building exercise. You've got like you've created like the Soho house, but where you actually like the other people because they're also watch nerds, and you have this great commonality with them. No, I think that's wonderful. Let's go back to also you identifying and educating the public about the best in independent watchmaking. So of course you've brought on board some incredible educators. Two in particular. One is Tim Masso, who I think is one of the most knowledgeable, if not the most knowledgeable guy working in the English language. And then the other is another legend of watchmaking, probably the greatest technical writer in watchmaking right now, and his name is Jack Forster.
Yeah.
Tell me what these two guys do at 1916, and why is it important for you to be an educational platform as well?
I think there's a lot of collectors today and the consumer who's actually intimidated about the watch industry. Many people see this from afar, and without knowledge, you don't feel well equipped to come into a conversation and meet someone like yourself. And I always found that the watch community is almost like a voyeur community. They look at the watch category from afar. Many people are heavily researched when they look at what's online, what's on YouTube, what's the watch journals are putting up. But there's an incredible amount of volume of material there. With Tim and Jack, I put them in the same category as you, where in your prestigious esteem, because I think,
come on, dude.
when I want to learn about watches, I read Revolution, or I go watch Tim's videos, or I go see what Jack's talking about. But they do it in such a uninvasive way where it's so easy to learn. And I think that technical detail, the understanding, and to be able to have a contextual understanding of where watch brands sit in watch collecting is really, really important. And for us today, education has always been at the forefront of our business model. The more that we've offered education, and let's face it, it's free. We want to make sure that the collector community no matter who you are, where you come from, you are able to access education content. And that's been able to be the magnet to bring our collectors together, because our business is not about selling. Our business is bring the community together, let them have fun, let them be educated, and everything else comes around.
You know, I totally see a parallel between what you guys do and what Dubai Watch Week does as well. Dubai Watch Week is a cultural initiative that just builds that community and builds the passion in such a great way. And also with what you've done as well is really remarkable. You've done exactly the same thing. I think it's a very top-down approach as well, because like invariably the team gets their cues from the leaders. And what's really nice about you, Danny, Liamui, like everyone's just nice, right? Everyone's friendly. And I think you've kind of removed the stuffiness from watches and just made them fun, right? Which is so important.
Yeah, I really appreciate that comment, because to me, you know, we're on this planet for such a short period of time. Let's have fun. You know, it's all about being inclusive. And I always think when we see the industry, it's actually a very small industry, although it employs thousands and thousands of people around the world. This community and the people that operate and play in it, you know, are friends, and we should behave like that. And that's one of the things I really enjoy about what I do, is I get to meet incredible people, incredible brand owners, CEOs, marketers, technicians, watchmakers. And this is an industry I didn't come from, but in a short period of time, I've been able to learn and meet so many wonderful people. And it just makes it, you know, I don't see this as work. I see this as very much a social business for us. And by being able to create this connectivity, not just with our consumer and our collector, but the people that work behind the scenes, you know, that's a real pleasure for us.
That's amazing. So, okay, let's talk about the next phase of the journey. So you went from curating secondary and making it like an educational initiative and really identifying the best in independence and bringing it to people, to actually purchasing an independent watch brand. And you guys purchased Debethune, right?
Correct.
And for me, because I was part of it as well, I not the purchasing obviously, but part of what you guys did immediately afterwards, I saw the benefit to your investment immediately. And that was let's talk about this incredible jewel that is exceptional, but only a small amount of people know. Let's bring it to a wider audience. And I think one of the very first things you did was work together with us to bring the brand around the world. You helped us with a documentary as well. Yes. I mean, tell me about that, you know?
You know, the whole story behind Debethune, you know, it had to come from an authentic place. You know, we were collecting the brand for many, many years before we got involved. You know, it wasn't intentional, but when the opportunity came to invest and give them the resources and capacity to help them grow, you know, we jumped at the chance. It was something really exciting for us. I think one thing that I see about the independent watchmakers is slightly unfortunate, but has changed now over the years, is that we've been able to use our platform and others as well to provide a spotlight on making these independent brands shine. I think what you've seen recently with, you know, with LV and the Creative Prize is that companies should be spending more time putting that platform and giving, you know, the cards effectively are stacked against independents in general. They don't have marketing economies, they don't have the customer, they certainly don't have the budgets to go and do what other big brands do. So when we were given the opportunity to invest with Debethune, we saw something that was really exceptional. We were able to take an artisanal watchmaker who we hold in the highest esteem and revere him as the top master watchmakers of our time, product that we generally love, and give them the experience where we could take Debethune and expose them to our global collector community. You know, he only produces a few hundred watches a year, and so the opportunity to take Denis Flageolet and make his brand more well known to our collector community was just a natural, you know, symbiotic relationship that we could build.
Yeah, I love what you guys did with it. I love the idea that also Debethune, which was so exceptional from a watchmaking perspective, started to become adopted by a wider and wider audience. And it was kind of funny because and I remember at one point, after owning a pièce unique Debethune for I think almost 15 years,
yes.
I asked you guys, hey, is it okay if I sell this through your platform because I want to buy another Debethune, right? and Danny was like, yes, don't worry, we'll do it, and you've owned that watch for long enough, so everyone knows you're not trying to flip it, right? So then, to my surprise, when I was like, I wonder what happened to my watch, and then I started to look at pictures from Michael Rubin's white party, and Kyle Kuzma is wearing my watch, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool. And then I started to sort of follow him and look at his collecting habits, and he's actually like a connoisseur. Like he really understands watches. But it was so cool to see Debethune on a wrist like that. Tell me about why it was important for you guys to get them on the wrists of people that have the capacity to reach a wider audience.
You know, it was really interesting, and that was a great story, Wei, because Cuz is a great watch collector and an aficionado, but there was no relationship around, pay-to-play type partnerships with ambassadors. The people that collect our watches come from far and wide, and they come from all different backgrounds. And it would just so happen that we had the watch that you had sold back to us, and he was interested in wearing that same timepiece. So we're seeing a much wider aperture of collectors today, and they may be famous personalities, or they may be the business person that's in private equity. But that wider audience and that natural spotlight, we see this often in the United States when you get the right collectors in there, and they can broaden that voice and spread the word to an audience that traditionally doesn't know who De Bethune is. That's obviously meaningful and value creation for us. But we'll see more of these types of things happen more and more and more. We have a lot of collectors that are in the music industry, in sports, but globally, what I love to see is when people tag me on Instagram and I see them wearing watches, and there's a guy in Bali or there's a guy in Portugal and they're wearing De Bethune product, that makes me really excited, even more than sometimes the celebrities themselves.
That's incredible. So, okay, now let's talk about phase 3, about the transformation. Okay, so phase 1 was you mastered secondary and transformed into a curation business. Phase 2 was you took an independent watch brand and made it one of the hottest and most vibrant brands in the world, right? I would like to say. Then phase 3 was one in which you now have become one of the largest Rolex primary retailers in the United States. Dude, how did you do that?
Well, it's definitely an involvement of our business model. We started this company with a very simple principle. Let's build a really great customer journey around the collector. And what we realized is that as we built the business, we recognized that 95% of all watches produced are no longer in production. And so for us to keep that customer journey intact, we had to also include primary new timepieces. So it was just a natural evolution for our business to grow, is to be part of this authorized retail network, which is very, very important to us because our customers want to see what's coming new. They're here at Dubai Watch Week and they want to see what's the new product coming out. So we took a step, and we had planned this for many, I would say over a year now. And we've now opened up 8 locations around the United States. So that's where our primary focus is today. So building out 8 locations where we offer the top leading brands gives us an anchor on the primary and the secondary market in the United States. So that's kind of where we moved into this next involvement of our business. Today we have over 20 locations around the world.
Wow.
And they're all going to be under a single brand now, Wei.
That's amazing. And it all kind of all the expertise that you acquired over the entire journey is all feeding into that. I mean, you guys are now the masters of curating environments, and I'm sure that's going to affect your retail vision as well.
Yes.
But you guys are also the masters of timing. You bought De Bethune just when the independent thing was exploding.
Yes.
And now we're in an interesting situation with the market where it's, maybe come down a lot, but it's funny because anytime when there's market instability, there's one brand that always grows and takes greater market share, and that is Rolex.
Yes.
And so for you guys to be in that position is extraordinary. I almost feel as if you have a crystal ball or have a capacity to travel back in time and make the right moves.
That's flattering.
So talk to me a little bit about, because I know that there's an immense trust there as well. And part of the trust is expressed through your partnership with Rolex and CPO.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, we weren't expecting Rolex CPO to advance and be the pioneers of releasing certified pre-owned. When we were working with Rolex and they were showing us this direction where they were going to build the certified pre-owned program, it's absolutely genius. And when we heard about it, we had to fully embrace it because we knew that this was the very first time a brand has come into the market and officially extended the life of a brand over and over again. And it's effectively what they're saying is they're going to extend the life of your Rolex in perpetuity, because every 2 years when you go and renew it with the certified pre-owned program, they're giving you a warranty. So for us, it was an exciting time. We knew that this was also marrying well with our opportunity where we're building our primary network. And we feel that we've been dealing in Rolex for many, many years on the pre-owned side, but being able to partner with Rolex and bring in the certified pre-owned infrastructure where a watch is repaired, polished with official parts, with a certified pre-owned certificate and packaging. What else could the consumer want? So this is something that we just launched recently in November. It's super exciting. We couldn't be more excited with how it's gone so far, but we think it's the future.
That's incredible, and feel free to take this out if this is something that you don't want to disclose. But I know what you valued the company at the last round of investment, which is extraordinary, right?
Thank you.
But then how the question is, of course, like how do you grow from there, right?
Yes.
Because if you were already the masters of secondary, how do you grow beyond that, right? But now you just plugged in this whole other adventure for the future with this massive new revenue stream as well. And I know you guys are going to do it with class. I mean, you're a mind-blowing leader, Justin. I mean, congratulations.
I'm really flattered when especially from you, Wei. I mean, for us, the growth pattern of our business is really now building out a diversified business. We've got a primary business, a secondary business, and a brand ownership business. I think the opportunity and the size of the business that we can grow on the primary side combined with the pre-owned is unique. I think there are companies that are offering the similar side, but where our DNA is different because we really came from the collector's viewpoint.
Yes.
And so we can offer the customer primary and secondary, and for that full ecosystem. Plus, we've got this connected network globally,
yes,
where you have customers all around the world that are wanting to enjoy watches and collect timepieces. And we've built this infrastructure now, and now we're building these effective on-ramps now, so you can buy all these different categories of watches, new, independents, pre-owned, and that really hopefully wraps tightly around with media and education. So it gives us a very unique position in the business.
Yeah, I was going to say that I think that one sort of wonderful connective thread throughout everything is education, right? Community building and education. And if we can work together with you on events or symposiums or whatever, it would be a pleasure also because we really like you and we always have fun together. I guess the last question I have for you is why the name 1916?
So the 1916 company came after a lot of research. When we started WatchBox, that was a name that really resonated with us because it was around collecting. But one of the things that we learned over the years since we started the company was the values that we stand for and things that are important to us. And family is something that's really important. So the founding date of our first authorized retailer business was in 1916 when the grandfather Danny founded the company. So we thought, what better way is to give him a nod, because 1916 is when he founded the company. It's also another really interesting year because it was the year that the New York Times signaled that the wristwatch was here to stay. And last but not least, it was a really special era when many amazing brands were created between 1910 and 1920. Prada, Chanel, Balenciaga, all these great brands came around. So we thought, let's anchor our brand in a period of time which symbolizes family values when we founded the company and when the wristwatch was effectively born.
That's incredible. Justin, you're an inspiring guy. Thank you so much for joining me here at Dubai Watch Week. I can't wait to see what the future holds for you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Wei.